I don't know what's happening, but it was weird on my end. It's the heat here in California, or is it the heat of the transfer market? Welcome to another episode of the Highbury Squad, ladies and gentlemen. We don't care about technical glitches, as long as you could see the faces of these wonderful humans. Amanda, welcome to the show. Super Kev, welcome to the show. And of course, we have a very special guest today as well. The legend that is Alan Smith. Welcome.
Yeah. Friend of the show.
Yeah, not my first appearance.
Top man.
Not your first rodeo with us, is it, Al?
Exactly. Probably won't be the last either.
No.
He looks very cool, calm and collected over there. Arsenal fans obviously up in, call it excitement, Alan, call it whatever you like. Yesterday, the sky was falling. This morning, Gunnosaurus lost his job and the sky was double falling. And then fast forward a few hours later, Amanda, and as you've been saying all day, it looks like we're going to be having a party. But until we see him and until he's wearing that shirt, we don't know.
We're all ready to party.
Okay, we're ready to party. Welcome to everybody in live chat. Thank you so much for joining us. Alan, I'm going to start with you. How big is this signing? Should it happen? As you said before we came on air, it's not final yet until it's done. But what is the significance of this signing for Arsenal Football Club?
Well, he's a tried and trusted competitor, isn't he? Played 5 years at Atletico, 5 years under Simeone. And if you can do that, you've got discipline, you've got a great work ethic, you've got great professionalism, you know exactly what your job is. You won't do anything silly at the base of that defence, at the base of that midfield. It looks like a really good signing. It's not a gamble, you wouldn't imagine, as long as he can settle in this country. I think in an ideal world, he would have loved to have got OR as well, Hussein OR. I never say his surname correctly, but you saw against yesterday's game against Sheffield United, where they're defending deep and in numbers. You do need that kind of player, the Ozil type, if you like, the Santi Cazorla type, who can unlock a defence. Now, obviously, Partey's not that sort. He will offer more protection to the back four, back five, but it would have been nice to get OR as well. But no, listen, I'm not complaining. It's a great signing, and it will give everybody a boost, I think, in that dressing room.
Kev, you've been saying all along that when asked if we could only sign one, Partey or Semawa, you always went for Thomas Partey. He's definitely a player that we've been desperate for a number of years now. What's your take? And you've been right all along on this one.
Well, just to add to what Smudger said correctly, I think Thomas Partey, we know we lack that dynamism, that toughness in the midfield. Somebody who's got that physicality, who can not only protect the defense, but use the ball pretty well. And if an opportunity opens up to carry the ball forward, I've seen Thomas Partey do that. He can do that, and he can shoot, and he can score as well. He's a very good all-rounder, but we need him for really his defensive qualities. So the fact that Mikel Arteta, we know he's been after him all summer, and we're close to getting him now, I think this is a significant piece, because we've moaned about not having a Vieira type. We've moaned about not having a Gilberto type. Well, this is the guy.
Well, Amanda, from the fan point of view, we're always screaming for signings and we always want what we can't have. And, Thomas Partey is definitely a player Arsenal fans have seen play. I think the truth of the matter is not everybody knew who Houssem Aouar was before maybe this season. From the fan point of view and being a season ticket holder since 1950, what's your take?
1945, I'll have you know.
Okay, sorry.
My take is that we spoke about the spine, didn't we, a few weeks ago. Here we go. Leno, Gabriel, Partey, Alba. I don't even know how to say his name. Uber.
Oba.
Uber. I
You
can't.
thinking, do you need a cab? I'll get you an
You're
Uber.
excited, aren't you?
I know. I've been like this since about 3 o'clock. There's the spine, Kev. That's what we needed. That's what I was saying to you about a lot of the top teams. We used to have it many, many years ago. And here comes our Vieira number 2. Not that there's any pressure on Partey at all. Not that he's even signed yet, but he probably has. It's exactly what we've needed. I was with Kev when you asked us who we wanted more, Ayo or Partey. I said Partey. We need that beast in midfield. We need it so desperately. It's more desperate than desperate. If he comes, then for me, this has been a brilliant transfer window. We've got Guendouzi out on loan, which we needed. I don't know who else is going where. Remember, the English transfer window is still open to the 16th of October. So there may be a few things going on there we don't know. But with Aubameyang signing, that's it. I'm happy. I'm just really excited. I just want to get back to the Emirates and watch it live. That's all I want.
Well, you're not going there anytime soon. So go on. Go on,
I was
Alan.
just going to say, when Lucas Torreira came to the club, we thought that was going to be the player, didn't we? And in his first few weeks, months, he looked like he was going to be. And for different reasons, it didn't work out for him. But Partey's another level up.
Yeah, that's what I think.
He's got the legs as well, which Torreira didn't have. He couldn't get about the pitch. He could only work in small areas. And Partey's that athlete that Kev says. He should be ideally suited to the Premier League.
It's going to run the show. Going to run it.
Also, I think what's important is that spine that we talk about, and we saw the difference that spine made to Liverpool yesterday. You know, the signing of Alisson, Virgil van Dijk, of course, wasn't great yesterday, but he has been. Let's be honest. Those two signings really solidified Liverpool, the final pieces to Liverpool's jigsaw puzzles. You know, as we talk about Partey being that protector, there's another signing that we have made, Alan, in Gabriel, that looks as though he's adapted very quickly. To me, without getting too overexcited and melodramatic here, a signing that could be someone that we grow to love and adore for the next, 6, 7, 8 years, maybe 10. What's your thoughts on Gabriel and his immediate impact on the team?
Yeah, well, he's had an immediate impact, hasn't he? You're right there, Sophie. I mean, you don't want to get ahead of yourself because we've had a few kind of false starts when it comes to centre halves. I mean, the club's absolutely overstocked with them, and that's been part of the problem. Can't get rid of Socrates. I think Mavropanos has gone out on loan. Can't get rid of Mustafi. Maybe Callum Chambers now. He's surplus to requirements, which is a shame, but I think that's the reality. But Gabriel's come in and he's looked like he's played at this level for a fair bit of time. What I like about him as well, and what he did against Sheffield United, he's an out-and-out defender who smells danger. He's not somebody that's overly concerned about showing us all what a brilliant footballer he is. He'll throw his body in the way if need be. He'll just do the unspectacular things at times when the ball comes in the box, get his head to the ball a lot. So he does. He looks like a good signing, and that's a sign that the recruitment now is everyone's singing off the same hymn sheet, which I don't think they were when Raul Senlehi was here. And that was another great move to really move him out of the club, because now I think everybody is along the same lines, and that's got to be a good thing.
Kevin, we've been waxing lyrical about Gabriel for a while. We had a great chat with Matt Spiro about him too, having, Matt's expertise from French football and what he had seen. Do we see, and I'd love to get this from you and Alan, because I wrote down my team, hopefully with the Partey signing, that the back will be, it'll be Tierney, it'll be David Luiz, it'll be Gabriel, Maitland-Niles or Bellerin, depending on who's fit, who's injured, who's in form. And then, and the difference that Gabriel already has made, do you see him and Luiz being the main partnership for Arteta?
I do at the moment. I think it all depends who the opposition is, because sometimes Arteta likes to play the 3 or the 5 kind of at the back to bring teams on so we can catch them on the counter attack. But obviously at Liverpool we didn't see Gabriel. He left him out. He left him on the bench. he must have left him on the bench for a reason. I don't know why he left him on the bench, but I would have liked to have seen him tussle with the likes of Salah and Mane and Firmino. That would have been interesting. But one thing I like about Gabriel, he's a lot more aggressive than the other defenders. He gets stuck in, which is what we love. And as Alan rightly said, he defends. He wants to defend. And that is a big difference to what we're used to, because we've seen players wanting to play, show what good players they are. But when it actually comes to doing the dirty work, they've been left wanting. This guy wants to do the dirty work. And do you know what else? I've been impressed with his passing out from the back. I think he's got a good left foot, and his passing has really impressed me.
You know what we saw against Sheffield United too, you guys, is that David Luiz is obviously still prone to those mistakes. And Alan, I think he got away with the red card. I don't know if you all three agree with me. He really did get away with one there. And I think that's what concerns some Arsenal fans, Alan, is that long term, throughout an entire season, are we going to be able to rely on him the way we feel like we can already rely on a player like Gabriel, who's only been there 5 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Gabriel's still got a lot to prove before you can rely on him week in, week out. But, I mean, you're right. With David Luiz, we all know he's got a mistake in him. I think Arteta likes him for his athleticism, his leadership qualities, his passing as well. And he's had a steady patch, but you're right. He could have easily got sent off. I'm amazed they didn't. VAR didn't get involved. They didn't tell the ref to go and look at the monitor. If he had have, who knows what might have happened, and it would have been a lot more difficult afternoon. So how that one plays out is going to be fascinating. I was a little bit surprised when they, extended that contract that he had. I think we all were, weren't we? But needs must at the moment. He probably sees him in his top group of centre halves that he'll use. Rob Holding, that was the first game he missed yesterday. So he's come to the fore. And as Kev says, I think he'll mix and match according to the opposition, whether it's a 3 or a 4 at the back, and depending on who the strikers are, he'll play maybe different sorts of centre halves.
Can I just say, though, just regarding the shirt pull, definitely, I called it straight away. I didn't understand how he wasn't done by VAR. But the tackle on Aubameyang, that was a red. He was off the floor, just two-footed. So, in a way, it was evened up. And honestly, Al, I was so furious at Liverpool when Mane elbowed Tierney. And then you watch what happens at United with Tottenham yesterday, where Lamella, I do not understand how he's not gone off. It was a bit soft, both of them, but yet Mane got... And the inconsistency is what pisses off the fans, I'm telling you. So for David Luiz, we're owed one. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point.
Well, she put everyone in their place.
I haven't ranted for ages.
What? Crikey. Maybe you haven't been listening. But okay, here's one for you, for everybody. Harry Redknapp just about half an hour ago on Sky Sports, when talking about Tottenham's transfer window, said that Tottenham can win the league. And I'm going to start this with you, Super Kev, and then we'll go to Alan and Amanda.
I'm not even going to answer that.
No. It's not about that. I haven't asked the question yet. Based on the insanity that we saw this weekend. See, personally, I think Liverpool will bounce back. I think this was probably a good wake-up call for Liverpool. Manchester United, on the other hand, I think have problems. And that's mostly to do with the fact that we're now seeing the kind of coach Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is. Leicester lost to West Ham, who seem to be playing better without David Moyes on the sidelines. So... it looks like it could be a roller coaster ride of a season. It looks like it could be a bit crazy. Is it possible for an Arsenal or an Everton or a Tottenham to win the Premier League this season?
No, it's not. And I'll tell you the reason why. It's one weekend that went crazy.
Mental.
It was crazy. It's an anomaly. You don't usually see things like this. But what we do know is ultimately, it comes down to the squads. If you've got the best squad, usually you win the league. Liverpool have been the most consistent over the past 2 seasons. Man City, obviously, they've strengthened a little bit. So they're going to be there or thereabouts. Them two have probably the best two squads. And the rest, I think, is up for grabs. Chelsea are up and down. United are all over the place. Arsenal, I mean, we've been getting results and we haven't been playing well, if we're honest. So is that a good trait? Yeah, maybe it is a good trait. Now, hopefully, touch a bit of wood, Thomas Partey comes in and could shore up that defensive midfield situation. But I'm not buying into that. You know, this season it could be a wild one. I don't think so. I think it tends to even itself out after 10 games, and then you're going to get the usual suspects at the top again.
I think it will be a bit lopsided, Kev, because of the lack of fans and that. But now, especially where everybody's fitness is at different levels, we are seeing strange performances and strange results as we did at the weekend. But I'm with you. You know, the best squads, the best players will come to the top, and it's difficult to see, you know, Liverpool continuing in that vein. I know Alisson, he's supposed to be out for about 6 weeks, isn't he? So I mean, it's a big blow. Big blow, and you know that puts the Jeepers Creepers into all the defenders as well when they've got Adrian behind them. It's amazing the amount of difference that makes. So who can say how that's going to pan out with Liverpool? But they're a great team, and I think they've still got that desire under Klopp, and City, you would imagine, have got something to prove. Ruben Dias, I think, will improve their defence. So there's still a big gap there. But, you know, I'm hopeful that Arsenal can get into that top 4. I think they've got a fighting chance of doing it.
I also think that, Kev, we never thought Leicester would win it. So we just don't know. I mean, look at your old club, Everton. I mean, when have they ever had a start like this? Not that I can remember. So I think that I actually agree with a lot with what Alan just said. Starting at different times, different fitnesses. We were talking about the spine of the team. Liverpool have lost one part of their spine. So we'll have to wait and see. They actually haven't played brilliant this year. Last year was when they were a force, when no one could even touch them or get near them. This year, they've not been as forceful. We'll have to wait and see. I can't call it. I can't call any match at the moment. I absolutely would never have believed Villa would have beaten Liverpool 1-0, let alone 7-2. And I never believed the minute United got that penalty that Tottenham were going to go and do that. I mean, I know United are quite bad, but I didn't expect them to absolutely capitulate like that. And their defence, my God, makes ours look like we've got 4 Maldinis in them. I hope they're
defending like that when we play them.
Well, you know they won't. I called that. I said they'll play like Barcelona in a month's time when we play them.
I want to get Alan's opinion on this, because one of the things I said on the show a few days ago, Alan, was ever since Aubameyang has signed his new contract, he's really not played very well. And Kev always comes back and says to me, well, you know, he keeps playing him on the left. But last season, he scored a lot of goals from that position. What's your take on Aubameyang? Just a bit of a signing the ting hangover. And do you see with this new kind of, with Partey coming in, you know, can Saka and Willian dovetail that number 10 role? Talk to me a little bit about that forward line, and if you agree on any concerns about Aubameyang at this point.
No, I wouldn't have any concerns. The fact, you know, he hasn't played so well since he signed his contract, probably just a coincidence. I don't think he's resting on his laurels. He doesn't appear to be that kind of personality. But it'd be interesting if you asked him, where would you ideally like to play? Is it from the left? Is it through the middle? He went through the middle yesterday, didn't he, with when Nketiah came off. But you look at the number of goals he's got from the left. Sometimes, you know, you can get away from the centre-halves, can't you, Kevin, and make those runs from out to in, and he does it brilliantly. You know, I think the fact that we weren't attacking too cleverly yesterday and against West Ham as well, we weren't being creative, that hindered him a bit. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting how he does pan out. You know, the part that Pepe, Willian, they seem to be competing for that same role on the right-hand side. Saka, you know, another great performance yesterday in the England squad. He's only going to get better. There's a few choices there. But who's going to be sitting just ahead of Partey? If he's at the base of that midfield, Ceballos, you know, what role is Xhaka going to have? Because it might be tough for him to play in the same side as Partey now. So there's one or two kind of imponderables we're only going to find out about in the next few weeks and months.
Smudge,
Exciting.
Smudge, do you think Arteta might have stumbled across something for the squad yesterday where Pepe came on, Willian moved into the 10. Obviously, you got Saka and Aubameyang through the middle because they look to be a lot more dangerous playing that way.
Yeah, I mean, the game opened up, didn't it, in that last 15, 20 minutes, whatever. I mean, I was surprised Lacazette didn't start, given that he'd scored in his first 3 league games. So maybe that was just a fatigue thing, because I've still got a lot of time for him. You know, I think sometimes we need that kind of static centre forward who can hold it up, use his strength back into people, and he can be used to bounce passes off in the way that Giroud did for us and he's doing for Chelsea. So I think there's a role for all of them. But I think that's a good thing about Arsenal. There is that adaptability, that there are those options for Arteta. But I go back to that point, he'd love to have, like an Ozil in 2016, somebody that can make that special pass, see something others can't, to open up defence. We're going to face a lot of defences this season that are like Sheffield United's, that are like West Ham's, especially at the Emirates, and we have struggled to break that down, and that might be a problem going forward.
That question's coming up a lot in chat. Sorry, Amanda, go on. Yeah,
I can see Ozil coming back. He's not got rid of him. I can see him coming back into the team. And you know what? There are times when we need him, Kev. You know that. I can see it. Well, we'll see.
No chance.
I'd rather have Willian in the number 10 role.
No, you know,
I can see it.
Well, I'll tell you what I can see. I can see Ceballos playing a bit further forward because Ceballos can pick a pass. He can pick a pass.
Absolutely, but he's got the pick now, hasn't he? And we don't know actually what's going on with Ozil. He's obviously staying. So why not use him? I don't really understand that. Why not use him if we need him? Let's see.
He's not been used all this time. Can't see.
I know, but
he's not even playing him in the League Cup.
I reckon. I know, but I've got a funny feeling that something might change there. But I want to talk about our mate Pepe, Kev. Our mate Pepe, who we have supported on this show to say, give him a chance, have a bit of patience, let him get some games under his belt, which he still hasn't got, and he comes on and does that. Honestly, the boy's got talent.
Well done. He needs to do that like Alan and Kev did every game.
Alan and Kev.
As a manager, you've got to be able to rely on players, haven't you? And he was a bit frustrated, although he did well at Anfield. You know, a couple of corners, he's hit the first man, and you're tearing your hair out. You don't quite know at the moment what you're going to get, and for a manager, that's a bit of a nightmare. Coming on as a sub like that yesterday, when things have opened up, he's probably the perfect man for it. But we all know he's got bags of talent. He should have for 75 million, really, shouldn't he? But
the thing is, Al, right? He's come from abroad. He's had 2 managers. He's got to deal with his COVID situation. He's not in the team the whole. 3 managers. He's not in the team regularly. And maybe he's just a young boy growing. And I just think he's going to grow. And I think he's going to do really well. I may be wrong. In a year's time, I may go. I hold my hands up. But I just think he's got something.
Pulisic came in. Pulisic came into the new country, new team.
But everyone's different. You can't compare one to the other. You just need to. Maybe he needs a bit of nurturing, and that's what Arteta will do. That's what I think.
Do you know what I saw? And Smudge might back me up on this one. The Pepe that came on yesterday, and that move where he's played a 1-2 and then been direct and finished is straight from the training ground. That to me, because I don't usually see Pepe do a lot of check-in and all that kind of thing, but he was so direct and he was going for goal. He went straight for goal, and that finish was beautiful. That to me, that was Arteta telling him, I need end product from you. I need you to be more direct and use your abilities. And he is quick, he can dribble, and he's got great feet. And what a finish that was.
Oh, it was brilliant because he was travelling so fast, Kev, wasn't he? So to get the control on the shot in the way that he did, the accuracy was top quality. And Arsenal, they weren't getting too much down the right-hand side for most of the match, really, because Willian had a quiet game. So he was just what the team needed at the right time.
Definitely.
I want a Aubameyang down the middle. That's it.
Okay, so what you want, you might not be able to have. We've got so many questions in the comments, and we've got Alan here for just 5 more minutes. So
ask the questions,
one of the questions that's coming up out, and something I brought up to Kev is that I don't want Saka or Martinelli where they get lost. So a lot of people are asking about Saka, your opinion of him, and how you think, he won't get lost in all this new signing shuffle.
I don't think so. We've seen how much faith that Arteta's got in him. He's played him in how many different positions, and each time he's not looked out of place. There aren't many young kids about like that. And you saw the way he took his goal yesterday, that header. He's just placed it over the lad on the line. He's just so calm. In those pressure situations, he just seems to cool himself and be able to do what he needs to be able to do. So, no, he's got a huge future at Arsenal. And it's great to see, isn't it? A boy coming through the ranks like this. And he's an intelligent boy as well, with all his A stars and that. He did a great interview on Sky beforehand. I'm sure you saw it. He's a lovely lad, and he's got what it takes. There's no question. So, I know Arteta won't be overlooking him with expensive signings coming over the top. He's a lad for the present and the future.
And Smudge, and he'll be hopefully this international break, he'll be a full international with a bit of luck. So he's definitely one to build on. Yeah.
Alan, can I ask you what you think about Lacazette and his place in the team?
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to say, in terms of his goals, he's had a disappointing couple of years, hasn't he? I mean, he arrived at the club and scored on his debut, I think, didn't he? And lit the place up, and he's fallen away. But I thought there were signs at the start of this season that he was gradually working his way back. And as I said, there were occasions where I think the team needs him, and I think they missed him, actually, against Sheffield United. So there's still a place there for him. Because I think Arteta prefers to see Aubameyang on the left. I know, Amanda, you'd like him through the middle, but I think he might just prefer him there, where he can find pockets of space and use his guile and his know-how to burst into those spaces. So there's still a part to play for Lacazette, I think, a big part.
Okay, cool, because I like him. I like Lacazette.
Okay, so before we let Alan go, and it's been amazing, and we promised him we'd get him out in half an hour, we have our next guest who may have played for Newcastle United all these years, but we all know that he's a secret gooner. Mr. Warren Barton, hello.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi, mate.
Hi, Warren.
Hi, guys. How are
We knew he was a gooner.
I feel like I've gone back to the 80s.
I always knew he was a gooner.
I didn't have your name on the back of my shirt, though. Smudge, you're not. I'm not that old, anyway. I'm not too old. But no.
No taste.
No.
All right, you're my age, so behave you.
Yeah, but I look younger.
No, you don't.
You're doing that live. I can't see you.
I know. This is
It's all the sunshine.
This is called the sun. California
Current
sun.
bun, that is, yeah.
That is,
You so know, Warren.
You
would
tell him, Warren.
Face, don't you?
Mm-hmm. It's nice to see everybody.
Well, Alan, thanks so much for joining us. And obviously, if you could stay, we'd love to keep you. But where do you see us finishing before you go? What's our league position once all this is said and done at the end of the season?
I'm thinking fourth. And I think that'd be a result given where we finished last season. There's a lot of improving to do, but I think it's going to happen. And once we get that momentum going, and we will be more reliable at the back, especially if Partey comes. So I think it's going to be a solid season with a few highs along the way. Hey, listen, there might be another bit of silverware there as well, which will always help. But get back in those Champions League spots. You're earning that revenue. You can attract better players, as we all know, and back where Arsenal belong. Let's hope that that's the case.
Excellent. So Roger has us finishing above Tottenham then, hey?
Yeah, I think maybe just. I don't think Tottenham are going to win the league like Harry says, but they've got a good squad. They've got a strong squad.
I think Harry had a bit of a drink when he said that, Al.
Maybe.
Well, you never know. But listen, I'd love to join you later on in the season anyway. It's been good.
Definitely.
Sounds great. Thanks, Alan.
Thanks, Mudge.
Take care.
Cheers,
All
mate.
Thank you
Cheers,
for coming
Kev.
on.
Cheers,
See you
pal. Thanks,
soon.
Smudger.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
That is the legend, Mr. Alan Smith, joining us. And we go from one legend to another. Played for the Magpies. He's probably really happy with the start Newcastle have had to the season as well. But he does love a little bit of Arsenal. Welcome to the show, Mr. Warren Barton.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Nice one, Warren.
How do I follow a real legend like him? Smudger, how do I follow that?
Yeah, you're a living legend too, mate. Don't worry about that, Warren.
Kev, you know me. I'm a legend in my own world. You know, my own little world.
Hey, that means you're still a legend, mate.
Exactly. So I keep telling the wife and kids.
Yeah, you tell them, mate.
Before we get stuck into transfers and stuff with Warren, Amanda, we want to talk a little bit about yesterday's craziness, right? And the results and Liverpool and Man United. And Warren, do you think it was an anomaly for Liverpool, but maybe a trend for Manchester United? Give us your take on the craziness that was the Premier League yesterday.
Yeah, I think you're right in saying I think Liverpool was just a crazy day. You know, no one, I was watching it and I couldn't believe what I was seeing, you know, and you know they are predominantly world-class players. It just shows you sometimes how important their goalkeeper is. If I was Alisson, I'd be knocking on the manager's door for a new contract because he's such an important player. And it just shows you, you know, they are vulnerable. We had seen signs against Leeds, a little bit maybe, as Roy Keane said, sloppiness coming along. And maybe it's a wake-up call, but I can't see that being a trend, not with Klopp, not with the players they've got, not what they've achieved. And it was just a bad day at the office. On the other hand, with Manchester United, it didn't really surprise me that much. You know, it's been coming. Kev, I don't know whether you agree, but sometimes I think the team emulate the manager, and we both know Ollie. We played against him for years, and an outstanding professional, a good player, scored lots and lots of goals. But he's never been a leader, and not the respect of a leader in the sense that a Roy Keane or Patrick Vieira grabbing everybody and motivating, but leading them troops. They seem to be like him a little bit in no man's land, and I think they mirror him where he looks like he's fragile at the moment. He looks like he's vulnerable about transfers, what's going on behind the scene, who's coming in. The fans are now starting to get a bit weary of like what's happening, who's coming in, what players. He keeps mentioning Sir Alex Ferguson, but he can't get him out of this hole at the moment. And you could see after the Crystal Palace game, Brighton, they wasn't really convincing.
Got battered, Warren.
Exactly.
Got battered.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. They did get battered and got out of jail with the penalty. So I would be very, very worried for Manchester United because I didn't see a response from anybody. I didn't see a response from him. I didn't see a response from the players. And Shaw at the end trying to tell everybody that he's going to kick someone. That was just a way of getting off the pitch because he was having a bad day. But it's been coming. And I think you can see how vulnerable they are. You know, Kevin knows and I know, and we all know the great Manchester United club, the prestige, but that is gone. They are a million miles away from that. Their starting 11 is a good team, and I think could hurt many, if depending on how Martial gets out of bed, if he wants to play. I think they can cause you problems. But then I look further than that, and I don't see anything that can change it. And we're talking about Manchester United. You know, you look at Spurs with their squad that they've got, Man City, Everton now. You look at how well they're doing. So, you know, they've all got a better squad, I think, than maybe what Man United have got.
But the thing is, right, it was a bit mental yesterday, wasn't it, Warren? Because let's go and talk about the Liverpool. I'm sorry, not anyone on this planet would have thought Aston Villa were going to beat them 7-2.
I tipped Villa to win.
No way.
Did.
A couple of my Liverpool mates felt bad about that game too.
I tipped Villa to win.
7-2. No way you had 7-2.
No, not 7-2, but I tipped Villa to win the game.
Why?
Yeah.
Were you drinking again?
No, not at all. No. I just, for me, the way Villa set up, I think they're tailor-made to play against Liverpool.
Well, obviously.
Especially with Ross Barkley now.
Yeah.
Because they've got pace and they can break. Grealish is a carrier of the ball. Barkley's a carrier of the ball. You need ball carriers against Liverpool to cause them problems. And that's what they've done all day long. They carried the ball and played for them and cut them to ribbons.
But I was really surprised, Kev, how they collapsed. You know,
Yeah,
How easy
understand
it
the style
was.
of football, like you said. You let Liverpool have it, you break, and you've got pace, and you've got people that can break that line of midfield, that press, like Grealish can do, and Ross Barkley.
Yeah.
They got a bit fortunate, obviously, with the ricochets, but I didn't expect Liverpool just to collapse. I expected to maybe be like it was the other week, 4-3 or 3-3 or something. I never thought. I mean, great job for Villa because they've got a bit of pride. That's a great club as well. Got good history, good tradition. About time they showed a little bit of pride, and they played really, really well. And you know, you're right. The tactics was good. They let them have it, and then once they're good, they broke. But I was really surprised of winning the Premier League, how they did, how relentless they was, winning the Champions League, all the trophies they've won. You always seem to have a response, but it's like we looked at the great Arsenal team. They've had a great day. They've had a day off where they've got spanked 3-0, 4-0. Manchester United, it happened to them when we beat them 5-0. So them great teams have a day off. And you're right, you can maybe pick a game and think, are they really going to fancy it against an Aston Villa team that are hungry and determined? And that's what turned out. But I can't see this being a trend. But as I said, what surprised me, how awful they was in the sense of like trying to get some momentum. It's like it's a bad day at the office. Listen, Kev, me and you have been there. It's like I've got to get off of here because
Been there too many times, mate. Jeez.
At Wimbledon, that was the normal. We said we can get 2-0. We'll be happy with this.
Warren, the last time I chatted with you, was it at Highbury when you were playing for Newcastle and we beat you 5-0?
Probably, yeah. Thanks for
I'm sure he
think-
appreciates
That's
that
all right.
reminder.
Yeah, but it don't matter because he's Arsenal, so it doesn't matter. But I think that yesterday, just going back to yesterday, was just so mad. I think the start of the season, because of what we're all going through, no fans. I don't think we can call any game anymore. I just can't see. Look, with Everton. Kev, you're convinced, aren't you, that this isn't going to last? Yeah, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is, the question before was about winning the title, because the squad gets tested. When your squad gets tested,
yeah,
when you go past the new Rolls-Royce engine of those three in the midfield, you take them out. And then you're back to normal. There ain't anything else that's changed. It's those three players who are the engine room who make a difference. You take James out of that team, the creativity's going to suffer. You still have the dogs in Alan and Decore, but that creative spark, that know-how is gone. So
they're on the roll, Kevin, at the moment, and they're just going to run with that, like Leicester did. But there will become a time they can't keep getting Pickford out of jail by him giving up goals and being sloppy. So you're right. They're going to ride that. And he's obviously an outstanding coach. And I think they will get results that we maybe don't expect. And maybe the fans not being there is maybe helping them, where Liverpool players, like, they probably need the fans, where it's like, we need to have that atmosphere. We need to get on and play. I mean, who would have predicted West Ham beating Leicester, who Leicester went to Man City and killed them? And you're right. I think it is this type of season that
it's mental.
Anything could happen. Anything could happen. I mean, who would have thought you'd have obviously Everton top of the league and Newcastle in the top 4 or top 6? You would never ever think at the start.
But we love it, Warren. We love it.
It's great. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's much better. But this is all to do with a lot of, we said at the beginning of the season, is what players are going to enjoy playing in front of fans and what are not, and who's going to struggle. And I'm telling you, I think Liverpool, and I've said this when Stevie Nicol was on 2 weeks ago, I said to him, you need your crowd. They are your 12th man. That's it. With Arsenal, unfortunately, we are doing better without the fans because the toxicity is not there and everyone can hear Arteta, which I'm upset to say, but I can be honest and see that. But I do think this is going to be a really, really strange season. We've started at a very strange time. Everything's strange. Nothing's new. But what is good, Warren, it does look like that Thomas Partey is going to join Arsenal, and he is the midfielder we've been crying out for years. So we are very happy. If it's hopefully going to be announced very soon, that we're all ready to party already. And I think I can see us in the top 4. Party.
I think when Arteta took over, there's a plan that he had in place. Like when he's bring players in, Gabriel at the back, he got a left-footed centre half. He's brought players that fit what he wants to do. It's not just I'm going to buy someone and we need to get some bodies in. He's actually thought about what he needs, and you can see the players are responding. And Kevin knows as well as anybody. Once you get a few wins with a new manager and how he's talking and how he conducts himself, and Aubameyang signing a new deal and everything else, it has that snowball effect and that knock-on effect. And also what's good, he's got rid of 1 or 2 headaches, whether they're on loan or they're just out the picture. That's fine. I mean, the biggest problem he's got is obviously Ozil. But what's the team doing well and winning, and how the fans and the media have took onto it, he's sort of forgotten now. And it's crazy the money that he's on. It's sort of, the ball's in his court. Do I sit here and pick up the wages and then my career is just over? Or do I do something about it and try and do what James Rodriguez has done and get off my backside and try and play for someone and go and play? Because, Kev, you know as well as I do, you're retired a long time. Yeah, we'd love to have his money and not do anything. Don't be silly. But at the end of the day, we're professionals and we want to play. And it must come a time now where he thinks, I've got to go and play somewhere. Even if defer some of my money or whatever it is, I want to be playing. I want to be in the Champions League. I want to be playing football.
No chance.
He's a broken player. He's going
to sit tight.
I said before Warren came on to Alan that I think Ozil will play this season for us. I think he'll start to come in. I don't see why we shouldn't play him. If we're paying him everything, play him.
Yeah, but if he's, by the sounds of it, and Kevin, if his heart's not in it, he'll have a knock-on effect. He might do it for one game, but if he's not, and it seems that type of player, if his mind's not on it, he might miss out when you play Brighton away or you go and play Burnley away. I know people can say, well, don't play him then because that's the games he's not going to play. But you think to yourself, well, I may as well play him because I'm paying the money. But
absolutely.
I think Arsenal and Arteta have moved on from him.
I do. But I also think, Warren, as you said, that you and Kev are professionals. You just want to play. Surely he wants to play.
He's not professional. He's not being a professional right now, and he doesn't want to play. And he's been a broken player.
What's going on.
Hold on 1 second. He has been a broken player since the World Cup. And I think, things do affect certain players in different ways. If you're a mentally strong player, you handle things differently. And when you have an entire nation and a federation that kind of hang you out to dry as the fall guy for what happened to Germany in the last World Cup, that really does affect you. And he was already getting a hard time from Arsenal fans. He said to me, and this is just my opinion, he's presented himself as mentally weak. And Mikel Arteta, Warren and Kev, when you look at the players that he wants in his team, when you look at what he's done, he's built the mental strength up as much as he has the physicality and the tactical side of the game. Would you agree with that?
I think Ozil wants to play. I think he wants to play, but he wants to play on his terms. Like, I play when this is how I want to play. So,
when I want.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. I think he is a professional and they want to play, but he's not going to play the way Arteta wants him to play. I look at what Arteta's really done with Xhaka, who, when he was clapping and walked off, he'd gone. He'd lost it. He was out. But whatever they've spoke about and how he's progressed, and again, maybe the fans not being there has helped Xhaka. His performances have been good, have been solid, been good. It gives him a nice foundation. It lets the other players around have a bit more freedom. So that's good man management. And I think I would imagine, and I would do the same, is I try and get in Ozil's corner and help him. But if he ain't going to do it, and you can see in training and you can see what's going around, I mean, he's seeing it. We're not. We're just speculating. Because he wants to play him. He's a good player, but probably thinks, you're not going to do what I want you to do. Now, if they're doing an 8v8 and I'm like, we're going to squeeze when they get the ball, and you got Ozil jogging at the back, it's like you're going to lose the other 32 players for this one. And there's been other managers like Arsene Wenger who's tried to get the best out of him and haven't. There's no doubt about his talent. But as I said, I think it's like when you've had an old girlfriend. You go back and you think, oh, and then when you had that last kiss, you think, you know what, it wasn't that good. Actually, I'm going to move on, and off you go.
Well, Warren, if you remember what Arteta said at the start of the season, he said there's a clean slate for Ozil and Guendouzi.
Mm-hmm.
There's a totally clean slate. We've not seen any of them anywhere near the first team. Guendouzi, with a bit of luck's gone to Hertha Berlin on loan, and Ozil's been nowhere. Ozil's been nowhere near the first team. So that, to me, that tells me a lot. Now, if I was Mesut Ozil, and I'm sure if you were Mesut Ozil, we put ourselves in it, we would say, look, let's come to an agreement and I'll get another club because I should be starting.
Yeah,
but Ozil ain't going anywhere.
No, like you said, he's probably speaking around. And where realistically, where do you go? Probably back to Spain, PSG. Are they going to, I mean, are they Thomas Tuchel? They like to press, so he's not going to go into that team. So he's losing options where he can play. And, you know, at the end of the day, he will go somewhere. He's a talented player. But it's like that's 18 months of your career is gone. And, you know, then you'll have to kickstart it again. We've just seen with Jack Wilshere being released by West Ham. You know, what a career we thought he was going to have. I know Jack's unfortunately had a lot of injuries, etc. But people move on. That's the nature of the business. Now, they move on and off you go. I know people say about the money, but they would get the revenue back on getting in the Champions League. I think, well, what we're paying him, get him out of there, and then that's spread out for someone else. So I think, you know, as Arsenal fans, you know, you look about what's doing, the feel-good factor that's happening after the FA Cup Community Shield. I think you've got to leave that behind. And if he comes along, like you said, and plays a couple of games, great. If not, Arteta seems to be marching in the right direction.
I have a question for you guys from Clement Kuko, who is joining us from Indonesia. So he gets a very special shout out. Let us know where in the world you are. We have listeners from all over the gaff, as we would say. He would like to know, will we win a trophy this season? And if so, what do you see us bagging? Super Kev?
Look, it's a good question, but it's a crazy question because we're the Arsenal. We've got to be greedy and go for everything. There is no preferring one trophy over another. No, not this. Not after winning the FA Cup and then the Community Shield. Now the boys have got the taste. They've got the taste of winning. Are we a cup side or are we a league side? We're not quite a league side yet, but I think we're a cup side. Any given day, we can beat anybody. So let's go for the cups. I wouldn't mind a couple of cups. I wouldn't mind the Europa League and another FA Cup if you don't mind. Hey, and we're in the Carabao Cup as well, aren't we? So why not make it a treble? Let's have a treble.
You greedy bugger.
I'm greedy.
As a man that never won anything, I would go for the Europa. I would focus on that because that would be. I think Kev's absolutely right. I don't think the team is ready yet to challenge for the Premier League. I don't think they're quite ready there, and I don't think he is either. I think he's going to have decisions to make along the way. But I think Europa, where their style of football, it's a lot of games. But I think that would be, and I don't want to say this because I love the FA Cup, a step up from the FA Cup. I think that's that next one up. You know, if you win the other League Cup, great. That's domestically fantastic. But I think to win a European competition, I think that's something that they should, if I was in charge, that's something I would go for. Because I think that puts you on that next level of European, going into Champions League, etc., etc. So I think that would be something that I focus. But like Kev said, don't ever write off the FA Cup or the League Cup because they're still great competitions. But I think there's enough to go for in Europa.
But also, it does elevate you into the Champions League, of course. But also, even by us talking about this, it's so amazing to where we were in the last couple of years. We actually now think, all of us think we can get top four. Loads of Arsenal fans are feeling positive. We're talking about winning the Europa League. This is where we want to be. And I'm absolutely 100% behind Arteta. And I was the day he signed. I loved watching I love the fact he's worked under Wenger and Pep. That for me is just what he needs. And he's come in and he has told them who his boss. I agree with Ozil. I understand all what you're saying. I still think he might feature this season. Why not? But he has told them who's boss, and that's what they needed. And what I loved yesterday, and I will go on about this, so sorry, when Pepe scored, which was a beautiful goal, every member of that team went up to him. They all want him to do well, which I love, this team spirit that we've not seen. There was always cliques, wasn't there? I don't feel like there's any cliques anymore. I just feel like they're one. And they're just all happy for each other. And Aubameyang was cuddling him like he'd scored. And I love that. And I think there's so much to come. We're forgetting about our academy players as well. Emil Smith-Rowe. I mean, we've got such talent and we just need it nurturing. And people need to give Arteta a chance. Just leave him alone, Arsenal fans. I'm begging you, stop with everything that you do towards him and just support that man who is going to elevate us.
It reminded me of Ian Wright and Kevin Campbell when they used to score a goal.
Yeah,
that you got to show them some moves, Kev.
There was the Bogle. There was all sorts going on, mate. We enjoyed it. And listen,
I was normally laying on the floor as well when you just nudged me off the ball. So
Warren, you know as well as I do, mate. It's a hard business to be in. So when you do get the opportunity to enjoy wins and enjoy goals, etc., take it, because you know what? You're a long time retired, aren't we, Warren?
Yeah,
you know,
we are.
if you look back and you forget games, you forget times, etc. So have a squad that enjoys it together, win together, play together, and enjoy football together.
I just want to change the subject slightly. I've always wanted to ask Warren
because we've got Warren for just five more minutes. Yeah,
I just want to ask me a quick question. I've known you for a very long time, young man, haven't I? Very long time. What Kev doesn't know is that we knew each other. He used to know my next door neighbours before he even played football. We all used to play football together. But moving on from that, I've always known that you and your family are Arsenal. But when you played against Arsenal, what was it like being an Arsenal fan?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, my second game at Player Lane when I was at Wimbledon was against, first of all, I played against Liverpool, a really good Liverpool team in the late 80s, early 90s. And then it was against Merson and Kev and Wright.
It was. I was there. I remember seeing your debut for it.
So we played against them. It was always special. I mean, Highbury for me is always the stadium. When I was a kid going over there with my brother at the North Bank and going through Clissold Park at Stoke Newington and going to the games and going to watch it, and then the marble stairs and playing against them as a kid. I was there as well in the academy. It's a special club, it's a proper football club, and I think Liverpool's the same, Arsenal's the same, Man United, they're proper football clubs, and playing against them was always special. I loved it. It was always a tough game. I was lucky enough to actually score against them when Arsenal had that unbeaten run where they hadn't conceded a goal. We lost 3-1 at Newcastle, but I remember Terry McDermott turning around to Arsene Wenger and going, F you about that. And it was like, Arsenal, we're winning 3-0. We're top of the league and you're happy that you just scored a goal. So, but, a great football club. A quick story about playing at Highbury as well as a player. And, I used to love it there, Kevin. You was probably the same. It was a great football stadium to play. Dennis Bergkamp was playing and a ball got knocked out. I was playing for Newcastle. And you remember the little dugouts there with the little tiny one. And how they got everybody in there?
Little white ones. Little white ones.
There's about 15 people in this little telephone booth that they're all in there.
Yeah.
So I've gone to close down Dennis Bergkamp, and only Dennis could do it. Ball's gone over his shoulder, at the outside of his right foot. I can flicked it, and it's gone right through my legs, and it's spinning. Now I'm facing Arsene Wenger and Pat Rice from about 3 foot with a ball gone through my leg. I went, he's fucking good, isn't he? Wenger just started laughing. He went right through my leg. It was spinning. He got it, and he sprayed it out to someone on the right-hand side. But just great playing against them type of clubs. And Ian Wright said it to me, and Kev, he was probably the same later on in my career. He said, have a look round of where you are. When you go to Old Trafford, when you go to our Highbury, when you go to Anfield, because not everybody can do that. Not everybody's been lucky enough to. We've worked hard for it, but not everybody's been lucky enough to do that. And playing against the Arsenal was always special. And I always think about the Arsenal.
But the thing is, though, being an Arsenal fan, how was it for you? Did you ever want to win? I mean, I'm such a fan.
Yeah.
Of course. That's the whole point. That's the whole
Kev,
point.
when you played for Everton, did you ever want to beat Arsenal?
All the time. What are you talking about?
Oh, no.
Of course you do. Of course, it's your job, Amanda. It's
your job. That's Amanda. We get paid to do a job.
We played against Arsenal at Selhurst Park for Wimbledon. I don't think you was playing, Kev. I think you'd obviously moved on. But Righty being Righty, he'd hit one of our players as he's run past him. Well, there was a full-blown fucking fight broken out on the field. Yeah. And I'm an Arsenal fan. All my family there and all the friends that have come from Islip, and they're all there Arsenal fans. I've got them all tickets because at Wimbledon we could get them about 20 tickets. No, we couldn't give tickets away there. But even though it's my team and I love Righty, we're having a big punch up with right in the middle of the field. About 4 Wimbledon players on him, but it was special times. And as I said, it's lovely to see them coming back. And like you said, you've been optimistic about how well they're doing. But it was always, like Kev said, you always wanted to do well against them and beat them because that was sort of the benchmark. Arsenal, Man United was the benchmark, and then Newcastle, we was coming in, and Chelsea and the rest. Man City was nowhere to be seen. Everyone's a Man City fan, and how great they've been. It's crazy.
That's what they always say. The United fans say that.
New money. Warren, you've been spectacular. Before we let you go, where do you see the Arsenal finishing in the league this season? And I'm sure some Newcastle fans will be listening to this as well. Where do you see your Newcastle finishing?
I think Arsenal, I have to say it because I think you already said it, Amanda said it. I've got in the top 4, but I'm not convinced. I'm not totally convinced. I think Europa may take their toll on what they're doing, but they'll have a good season. I think, like Alan Smith rightly said before, it's going to be a good season. There's going to be some ups, but I think all around it'll be a good season. So top 5, and I think Newcastle will end up in the top 9. That's an achievement. And I'm disappointed to say that that's where they're going to end up. But I think, other teams will have a go. I've got to say, it's lovely to speak to you, but I always love it with Kev. I'm sorry, ladies. You are my favourite, but I love him. I love him when I played against him, and I love him now because all he does is smile and have fun. And that's how you should live your life.
Warren, I've got a question for you. Are you happy with the signings Newcastle made?
Yeah, I think that, for where we are, Kev, and the bodies and the influence that they had come in, and watching them the other day against Burnley, I know they're struggling. But what it did, there's not an X factor. Wilson may get us 12 goals, whatever, 13 goals. Then that may be enough to have you mid-table. But they give us a bit of a balance, and they've given us some depth and competition. And, he can play 3 up front. He can play 2 up front. So he's just give us a bit more depth of what we're doing. And, Steve at the moment will do what he can to make sure Newcastle have a decent season. But as I said, we're a million miles away where we used to be. But I am happy, Kev. I think they bought well, got some free transfers, and they look all right. They've started.
Things have improved,
well. There's an improvement.
And Amanda wants people to be nicer to Mikel Arteta, but I think people need to be nicer to Brucey. I think that he comes under fire and he's been bullied a little bit, not only in the press, but by fans. And considering what he was able to achieve last season, Warren, and, good start, positive start to the season, I think Steve deserves a little bit of love as well.
Yeah, don't worry.
He's done a great job.
He has done a good job. Don't worry, Steve can look after himself. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah.
It's Arteta. We've got to put our arm around him and look after him. And
that's what I think.
Yeah, he needs a little kiss now and again just to keep him going, Arteta.
And we send our kisses to you, Mr. Barton.
Yes.
Thanks once again for joining the squad. You're one of our
man,
favourites.
Warren, top man, mate. Top man.
Love to everybody. Take care.
Take care, Warren. Cheers, mate.
Bye.
Thanks for coming on.
Well, it's been all go, hasn't it? Where's that
It's
last
been all
hour?
go.
Has it signed yet?
Oh,
Listen,
I don't know.
Listen, hold on a second, right? Some laundry.
Do you like my top?
Oh, love yourself. I love it.
You have to love yourself. We love our team. We love the fact that we're ready to party. And I haven't got work tomorrow because I must have known something was going to happen. Because I'm not working tomorrow, so I can
You're not
stay
working,
up.
Joel.
Sorry.
Lucky you. Lucky you.
Apologies to everyone. There's a bit of a delay on my end with this California heat and stuff today, but I hope it's not too annoying. Here's the other thing. There's so much going on in chat today. If we've missed your questions, just keep them coming. Keep talking. Don't worry. We're gonna be getting through as many as we can. If Amanda and Casey are willing to stay on a little bit after 11, because the one thing that everyone's DMing me about is, are you guys really going to stop at 11 o'clock? There's only half an hour left. It depends on what the news is and what's going on as well. But we do have one more guest coming on, and you're going to love him. His name's Dean Jones, and he's from Bleacher Report. And he's actually their transfer guru and expert. So Dean's going to be able to kind of wrap everything up for us in a little bit of a bow as we know it right now. News has broken since. I don't know if you call it breaking news, but we are reporting on other clubs as well. Manchester United, Edison Cavani deal is done. I was always a fan. I was a fan of Cavani. He's not He's still got it, Casey. He's still got it, but
Good player.
is
He's
he?
a damn good player.
Isn't he? I mean, he's not the kind of player that they need right now, but at the same time, everyone keeps saying, "Oh, can he play centre back?" It's not as if they're scoring an abundance of goals, is it?
Sophie, let me tell you something. Manchester United are crazy because they got rid of Lukaku. They're saying Lukaku can't hold the ball up. He can't do this. He can't do that. Look what he can do. Don't look what he can't do. He can put the ball in the net, and he's a presence at striker. So they get rid of that, and they're playing wingers at striker. Striker is a specialist position. Cavani is a specialist, knows how to play the position. He's still fit. He's still strong. He's still a good runner. He will score goals at Manchester United. That's for sure.
I agree. He's a beast. He's a beast. All right. Joining us right now on the Highbury squad, we're delighted to say one of my favourites. I first started talking to Dean about football, I don't know, about 10 years ago on World Football Daily. Welcome to the show. Give him a warm welcome, Amanda and Super Kev, Mr. Dean Jones.
Hey, Dean. How are you, mate?
I'm very good. How you doing, guys? Are you all right, Kev?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Dean.
Hi,
Good.
Thanks
Dean.
for coming on.
Hi, how you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I don't know anything about what you do, so tell me what you do.
I work for Bleacher Report, which is primarily an American website that's gone global, and I'm a football insider, so kind of transfers is my thing, if you like. So I get trolled every day by people. Whenever I write,
she doesn't even know it.
I don't troll anyone. Thank you.
But yeah, so I deal with a lot of transfer stuff. So today has been a busy day, but yeah.
I just assumed you were going to be American. I just was waiting for this American accent to come out.
No,
Okay, so
to let you down.
Is our deal done then?
Which deal? Sorry.
Partey, obviously.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's pretty much done. Yeah, it's going to happen. So it's a really good deal for Arsenal, isn't it? It's one that I thought actually they were prioritising, and then it quickly changed, and for some reason it changed to Houssem Aouar, and they tried to get that done. But Partey was the name I was given, and I was writing about back in January, February time. That was all the briefings coming out of the club. He was the top target. A lot of people talking about him as a ball winner and how he's just going to add this stability and grit in midfield, but he's so much more than that. Like he can really progress the ball, and whether that's dribbling, whether that's passing, he's going to help them just build between the lines and get that forward play going. And I think that Arsenal have really missed that at times. I think in Arteta you clearly see that what he's trying to build, and he's just struggled in that area of the park. And I was told very early on how much he disapproved of Guendouzi as a midfielder. Not just in his playing style, but his attitude just didn't fit in at all with what Arteta wanted. And I think that this is a sign of what he does want, and I think it'll be a really good addition.
Wow, that's incredible.
Dean, I love it. Get the cutlass out. Off with his head. Guendouzi was never going to last. He was never going to last.
But you say
not Arteta's Arsenal.
Dean,
not Arteta's Arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny. I was when it was Emery's Arsenal, and people were talking about him like it was the next great thing, and I was watching him and I was thinking, am I missing something here? Because just because he's putting his foot in, I know that Arsenal have had, it's been some bad times down at the Emirates. I get that, and there haven't been many players willing to put their foot in. And so I think that just for a few games, people were just pleased to see somebody actually wanting to be out there, I think.
Yeah, have a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think once you actually started to analyse his performances, for where Arsenal should be and where they want to get to, he wasn't good enough.
Dean, it's interesting because one of the things that we're all now asking is, and I love that insight into Guendouzi that with Arteta's kind of feedback, and obviously after the Brighton game, you could see he was even more turned off by him. Amanda, Casey, and I have talked about if Partey were to come in, who would best suit him based on what we know how Arteta likes to play. How do you see his partnership lining up in midfield? Because obviously he would start every game when fit.
Yeah, I imagine the side's almost going to be built around having him there now, isn't it? That's what you've got to envisage that Arteta's going to do. He had his forward line set up, and now he wants to get that middle of the park ticking, and that's going to kind of take this team to the next level. So It's interesting for me. I mean, I really, really like Ceballos. I think Ceballos is kind of just got that spark about him, and I talk about like that transition between the middle of the field and getting those forwards going. And it's Ceballos, from what I've seen of Arsenal. I mean, I haven't watched every minute like you guys probably have, but he does have that, that movement up front. He sparks that, and I think that it would be a real shame if Ceballos wasn't in the mix somewhere. But Granit Xhaka is, I mean, he's had so much stick, but I quite like Granit Xhaka. I don't know what is going to be the best combination. I don't know how he's going to fit Partey in and what his exact role is going to be. Does he see him as a destroyer? Maybe he does. I don't personally want to see him as just a destroyer, though. I want to see somebody who he can kind of almost pivot with, if you like.
I'll tell you what I see. It allows Arteta to be a lot more flexible in the midfield. He can play Partey as the sitter with two more offensive midfielders, but there's going to be times where Partey could pick the ball up and go, because we know he can do that. And a lot of Arsenal players probably haven't seen him do that, but I've seen him do that quite a bit. And he can go and he can play 1-2s and he can go all the way into the opposition box and score. So I think it allows Arsenal to be flexible enough that they can have two players. I think Ceballos might play further forward as well, Dean. Yeah. There's every chance because he can pick a pass.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's just amazing that...
Dean, why did the deal with Kolasinac fall through? Sorry, there's a delay on my end.
She's got a little bit of a delay on her end, so we just have to bear with it because of the LA heat, apparently.
Oh, really? Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just raining where we are, but I know.
Yeah.
Sorry, so was it Kolasinac you asked about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was the fee that
yeah, you can respond to Kev's question, but why didn't the Kolasinac deal go through?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like it was gonna happen. I mean, from what I was told, it was the wages that were going to be a problem. I thought that would be rectified, to be honest, and I thought that they'd find a way around it. And I thought Kolasinac might be quite keen to kind of find a way around it as well. There was talk of lowering his normal salary and then adding bonuses on the top to make it up to the £8 million a year that he was looking for. But they just couldn't find the breakthrough. And you kind of wonder where it leaves him and where it leaves the club now with Kolasinac. Can't see him getting too much game time. The only good thing for him, I guess, is the next transfer window is literally 2 months away. So maybe it just needs 2 more months to be sorted out, to be honest. I mean, that has been quite a theme, actually, with a lot of the conversations I've had with agents over the last few days, is that players that haven't managed to get the deals that they thought they were going to get right now, it's not the end of the world because they're only 2 months away from the next transfer window anyway. So, we have literally been in the longest transfer window of all time. So it's been strange, and at times they're going to continue to alter. And I think that football clubs are having to change their thinking. We've seen how many loan deals are being done. That's going to become more and more regular as well. So, yeah, I'd say that he hasn't been able to get out the door now, but I'd be almost certain that he'll be out the door in January if he hasn't been getting any playing time.
So one of my favourite loan deals for us is Dani Ceballos. I just love him, and I'm so pleased he's with us for another season. It is a weird thing having a loan deal for someone that you really is an integral part of your team, because you think he's integral, and then you realise he's not.
Not yours. He's not yours, is he?
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so just tell us a little bit. First of all, Dean, who do you support?
I support Fulham, so you can enter your jokes now.
I used to love going to Fulham, a lovely stadium, very old, oldie-woldy. I loved it. On the Thames, great day out.
Well,
nice club.
That is our biggest problem. Everybody likes coming. That's the problem. Everybody comes for a nice day out, and like that's not really what you want of your home stadium, is it? It's supposed to be a fortress, and it's not. People come, they bring their pims, and they have a lovely time.
Yeah. I remember us playing you, and we winning a couple of years ago or 3 years ago, and sitting in the park after, next to the ground, looking at the Thames, having a drink. But I mean, it's lovely, but it's nice. Yeah. So we don't really. I mean, obviously Kev's different because he's been involved in it. But tell us what we don't know about transfers, because when not only Arsenal fans, every fan of every club has them, where they are screaming they're bored because they've not signed someone that they want. They hear a rumour that's probably not even come from the club, and it's murders, isn't it? So,
yeah,
just tell, because there's quite a few people listening tonight. How easy is it, and how hard is it?
It's really hard to gauge, especially, I mean, early on in your career, it's a lot harder because you're trying to find out who you can trust, and you start cold calling agents and trying to get to know them. And you learn over the course of the first year that most of them are just lying to you because they just want to get stories out there. And they've, to be honest, like, why would they tell you? They have no idea.
You're nobody, to them.
Yeah, you're literally a nobody. And I got that a lot in the early days. And you're like, okay, I'll persist with it a little bit and hope that eventually he tells me something that's true and I get a good story. But then, as you get a bit older in your career, you start to find out who you can trust. And it's still difficult, to be honest. It is still difficult because of Twitter and stuff emerging.
Yeah, so social media.
Yeah, in the last 5 years, our job's become so much more difficult because everyone thinks they're a transfer journalist. And a rumor will start up. I mean, I used to work on tabloid newspapers, and I was at the Sunday People and the Sunday Mirror, and even that when you were there and like a rumor starts to take kind of gather momentum on social media, and they end up calling you saying, could you check this out? And it's like, I can't check out every single rumor that some bloke made up on Twitter because it's just not true. I don't know what to say to you, and I can't keep calling up these same agents saying any truth in this one because they're going to get sick of hearing from you. So yeah, it is difficult, and you kind of got to build up towards a transfer window with a certain amount of knowledge, to be honest, of what clubs are looking for, which players are genuinely likely to move. And then as the window moves through, then towards deadline, you start to get a better idea of what's really going to happen. I mean, I cover Man United quite closely, and Chelsea are two clubs that I have really good contacts at. And Chelsea's been pretty easy, to be honest. We've had a good window with them, and pretty much everything I've written has come off. Whereas Man United, I've just spent every single day answering questions about Jadon Sancho for 6 months.
Yeah.
And it does become boring, because there's only so many things you can say. And they genuinely really did try and just wouldn't pay up. And agents' fees and stuff have definitely complicated transfers, and they've definitely complicated us understanding how likely a transfer is to come through, because while we can speak to intermediaries or the players themselves or agents, we're never actually in that room on the negotiations, and we're not on that phone call. We don't know what's actually going on. So sometimes you're writing stuff about a story in hope, to be honest, because like you don't know, you can never be 100% certain that what you're writing is going to happen. It's all about, you probably start off with 20, 30 people that you're calling, and then in the end, there's probably 5 that you really trust, to be honest with you. And they're the ones that on days like deadline day, they're the 5 that you trust. Today on Twitter, I've been I haven't tweeted that much today because there was just too much nonsense out there, and I just didn't want to get involved in it. I just want to carry on, focus on the day job and the actual stuff I was getting paid for, rather than filling up the rumour mill.
Sounds like a good plan. Dean, before we let you go, is there any shocker left out there? The window has almost, 16 minutes to go. Anything that you can share with us that you think might be coming? Any faux fax machine situations forthcoming?
I don't really know. I have to admit, I don't see anything like huge happening last minute. I think it's worth bearing in mind that some deals can still happen tomorrow between championship clubs. So there are some big players that are stuck in a championship right now that could still move. I think for me, I think Theo Walcott's, especially from an Arsenal point of view, is a really interesting transfer.
Yeah.
Going back to Southampton, I mean, that deal's going to be finalised tonight, and Theo
It's
Walcott.
done. Yeah,
Is it
it's
done?
done.
Is it? All right. Yeah. And I'm really pleased that that's done, because I really want Theo to have a really good ending to his career, and I think it's a good place for him to go to at this stage. They got a really good deal there, Southampton. I was speaking to somebody earlier, and they were saying they're not even having to pay as much as 50% of his wage, and it's even less than that.
That's good.
And that's
really good.
That is, yeah.
And the player himself kind of pushed for it as well. There was a lot of interest in Theo, as you would expect. I think there was 6 or 7 clubs that have been knocking in the last week once they knew he'd become available. And he was pretty adamant that if he was going to go anywhere, it had to be somewhere that he knew he could settle, knew he could be comfortable, and knew that it was a team that could get the best out of him. Absolutely makes sense to me that he'd go back there. I remember actually when he joined Arsenal, I was there that day when he turned up. I was in the press room, and he walked in with his mum and dad, literally like a schoolboy.
Baby face, yeah.
He was, he was so young at that point. And I mean, I wasn't that old, to be honest. I was like early 20s probably. And so I was early in my career and thinking, blimey, like, he looks so shy, he's so timid, yet people are talking about him like he's a superstar, and he's literally got his mum and dad showing him around the room. And his career has been crazy. I mean, I'm actually looking forward to the end of Theo's career when he sits down and talks about how it's been for him personally, because he's had real ups and real downs. So yeah, to answer your question, I don't see any major surprises, but ones like Walcott really are the ones that have caught my eye at this stage, because there are just deals that you want people to get an escape route out of a club. You want them to get out, but you also want them to end up somewhere where they're safe and they're going to actually do well. It's not just a last minute panic. They're actually comfortable with what they're doing. And I do like to see deals like that happen at this stage.
So,
great stuff.
Go on, Soph.
No, I was going to say great stuff. We're going to have to let Dean go because the transfer window is closing and it's his bread and butter. So we should let him go unless you have anything.
I've got no one bugging me. If you got one more question, I'm all good.
Go on, Amanda.
Oh, I've been thrown now, Dean. It's really good to have. It's really good to have you on, actually, because we've never had anyone that can tell us, with regards to transfers, how it works, what goes on. And I suppose really, for social media has been a nightmare for clubs. Absolutely nightmare for clubs. For agents, it must be phenomenal, because they can just leak to you and to others whatever they want. They need their clients. I mean, how do we know with this Ayor at Lyon that they weren't planning this all along, that he was never going to come to us? They just wanted to get a secure deal. We don't know anything. I remember my very, very early days at Highbury. I knew a couple of agents. I did. Quite a top one, actually. It was so interesting how they worked. There was no social media then, Dean, because believe it or not, I'm actually 51. So I am older than Kev. I
wouldn't guess that, to be fair.
Oh, thank you, Dean. See, Kev? Someone nice and decent for once. He won't even comment on that because I'm older than Kev by about 6 months.
Looks like 6 years. I mean, sorry.
Honestly, Kev, just shush, will you? I've lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, and it was really interesting. There was no social media, no mobile phones, nothing in the 80s, and everything was done. And even though, I think he's had a drink, Soph. I'm convinced Kev's had a drink tonight.
I don't drink. I don't drink. I told you.
Oh,
you know that.
Actually, you've given up, haven't you?
Yeah, I don't drink.
And it was very different then to what I imagine now. It's so... Oh, I can't say the words on here, but I can just imagine how hard it is for clubs. Not that my sympathy goes out to boardrooms.
Sleazy.
But I just find that they don't really care about their players. They care about the dollar. And unfortunately, players of a young age, it would just be good to have a couple of reputable agents around. I don't know anyone now at all, but
There are reputable agents.
But that's good, and
There are.
I did a shout out for a friend last couple of weeks ago. Her son, both sons play. One plays for Watford Academy, and one. They're both. One's Chelsea, one's Arsenal fan. But they're phenomenal at age 8 and 10. I think their ages are, and I just hope, because I think they will be picked up in years to come. They're just phenomenal little football players, and I hope they get decent agents, because this is now friends' children, and I just know what goes on. They're not going to care about them. They're just going to care about the dollar around them. It never becomes about what's best for their player. I mean, this is what I'm assuming. Obviously, I don't work for agents. I don't know. But it just seems that deals sometimes can't get done because it doesn't suit the agent. And that's so bang out of order.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly that aspect. I mean, and something that's even more prevalent really is this certain clubs only working with certain agents.
That's ridiculous.
That's become a big problem. And I mean, technically it's not legal, but it happens.
No. Yeah.
Happens a lot. And, you get, you see what's happening at Wolves and stuff, agents are taking over football clubs, and that's going to, I think, become more prevalent, to be honest. I think there'll be more super agents that kind of find themselves a club and push players in that direction constantly and almost build a team for them. I think that will happen more and more. And then on the flip side of what you're saying about the social media, I mean, it's interesting that you point that out about how much clubs hate it. I mean, Man United are a prime example. I mean, they got so sick during this transfer window of being linked with so many players. The ones like Sancho, they were like, they could deal with that because they knew it was true, but it's like United are just used now as a pawn to be like, link them to United and then we'll see where they go on the back of that. And because this transfer window was so long as well, it really got to them. And, it was getting to high level meetings where they were like, we need to stop this. So there were probably more briefings out of Man United in this transfer window than I've ever heard, to be honest. Certainly more than I've ever got, because they became so fed up with just nonsense being touted around, and people just start to believe it. Even the Jadon Sancho one, at some point, journalists abroad more than here were basically saying it was done, and that personal deals agrees returned and blah blah blah.
And you know what, Dean? It's just not fair on us fans, because you just feel let down. You blame the club, you feel upset, and really, it's 9 times out of 10 it might not even be the club. Yeah,
I mean, if I wasn't working in this industry, to be honest, I think I would just turn on the telly at 11 o'clock and see who we signed.
That's right. Well, do you know what's interesting? When Sophie and Kev talk about transfers, I don't come on the show because I'm not interested one bit. I don't do rumours. I never have for years. I don't discuss it. My dad is obsessed with Arsenal. If I don't get rumours every single week, I say to him, don't bother. I'm not going to respond. Not interested. When they've signed, I'll talk to you, because nothing ever... I'm not interested. I even said it to my other half this morning. He's like, oh, if this will be a bad window if we don't get anyone. I said, it's not over yet. Talk to me at 11 o'clock and then I'll have a moan or I'll be happy.
You're quite lucky, though. With Arsenal, there are a couple of really good journalists. You've got people like Ornstein, you've got Matt Law, people like that. Like, they genuinely are very well connected. And I think that really people generally say to me, like, how, as a fan, like, why should fans believe what they read? And it's like, well, just find a few journalists you actually trust. Like, don't just be on Twitter following every single person out there.
Yeah.
Pick 3 or 4, have them on your feed, and just be like, these guys seem to be doing their job legitimately. They don't tout around too much rubbish. They speak to me in a quite a straightforward manner. Like Ornstein, when he talks, he pretty much just spells out to you what he's heard, why he does or doesn't think it will happen, and then leaves it there.
Yeah.
He doesn't say this will happen on this date unless he's absolutely sure that it will. And it's not easy to do that. And he's obviously managed to get a very good connection within the club that's allowed him to do that. But for Arsenal fans, I would just say, like, find those guys and and go with that, to be honest.
Oh, Dean, you have been a
Great
star.
stuff. Great stuff.
Thank
Brilliant.
you so much for coming on. It's been really, really interesting. We'll get you back on again, maybe like January with the next transfer window.
Yeah,
Where there's more activity, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thanks so much for
makes sense.
joining us.
No, not at all. Thanks a lot, guys. That was good fun.
Cheers,
Take
Dean.
care.
Thanks,
Take care, mate.
Cheers, pal.
Bye. And then there were 3.
Boom.
Boom. Kevin.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you reading
What
a
are you
book,
looking
Casey?
at?
I'm looking at. What do you mean? I'm looking at my phone to see what's going on.
Well,
I've
what is
seen
going
you
on,
doing it.
Katie?
I've
Tell
seen
us.
you. There's nothing. There's nothing at the
No.
moment.
Is he not going to be announced, do you think?
No, it's done.
Well-
He's done.
Well, it can get announced tomorrow. You see.
Yeah, I know.
As
Well,
long
they'll
as the
probably do that.
paperwork's in, they
They'll
can
probably do
announce
that where
it tomorrow.
they'll put the top on him. He'll hold a ball. He'll say, "I've
Yeah.
always loved Arsenal," and he can't wait to start. And what number will he be? 4 or 5?
No
Do we
idea.
know?
No idea.
Whatever number he wants.
Well, we're all sort of plutzing, aren't we, in a very good way, because we just want to see it.
Well, it's
Look at you
about
both
time.
looking at your phones.
No,
Honestly,
well, it's
hello?
about time. It's about time we got that
Yes,
central midfielder.
Kevin. Yes, Kevin.
John
about
Cross from the
time.
Daily Mirror. John Cross from the Daily Mirror. Trust them if you like or not. I'm just reporting what is being tweeted right now. What a coup for Arsenal. Deadline day drama. Announcement coming. Deal sealed.
Yay. We're ready to party.
Dun, 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 dun,
What are we
dun.
going to sing his song?
Oh, here we go. That's a good one. Do you remember those old party lines? I just tweeted this. Do they still have those old party lines? Do you remember? Get on the phone and hang out with your friends, and you'd call like a number, and you'd just talk to people and meet
haven't
people.
seen them.
Yeah, I don't
They
think
don't
I think
advertise
that's
them anymore, do they? Thing of the past, maybe.
No, people. All right, Super Kev, we've got another 10 minutes here together. We're going to let the window close, and because people have asked us politely, we're going to just stay on for an extra few minutes. But Kev, I want to get your roundup perspective, because when you look at our window, okay, re-signing Ceballos, critical. We've seen that early on this season. Gabriel, superb signing that looks like right now. We bring in Thomas Partey. We bring in Willian, who adds Premier League experience and someone who's won at the highest level, played for his country many, many times as well, and also a salt of the earth kind of human being too, which is important to this Arsenal team. We've talked about team spirit. I don't think we should forget that the journey started with getting in someone like Tierney the window before, and the impact that he's had on the team, the emergence of young players like Saka. Don't forget, we've still got Martinelli, who's recovering from injury. You know, Maitland-Niles has become our little satellite dish. You can put him wherever on the pitch and he does a job. Super Kev, what is your assessment of the Arsenal?
Well, don't leave out the most important one, Aubameyang signing. Don't leave that one out, because that's the best signing of the lot. I think Arsenal have had a decent window. Partey is an essential part, so I think it's been a good window. Obviously, once Partey gets announced, we know that there's still a couple of bits that we could do creatively. OR obviously would have been a good addition. But the issue with Arsenal is the dead wood that's at the club. We can't get rid of it. That's the problem. So the chickens have come home to roost on our recruitment previously. We can't get rid of players. Players are on too good a screw at Arsenal, so they're not going anywhere. They're not going to take no cuts. You know, so this is part and parcel of how Edu and Arteta and the guys behind have to move and shake. And the fact that Martinez had to be sold, and then they had to fill the coffers in order to get the likes of Partey. See? So this is really important move for Arsenal, but it is vital that Partey signed. I think is more important than than our is Partey.
Are you bummed that we weren't able to shift Kolasinac, Mustafi, Chambers? I mean, the squad definitely has more depth now in a variety of positions. It doesn't mean it's good depth, but who, like you said, if Kolasinac, who's going to pay him 110, 100 and whatever it is he earns grand a week? Socrates has turned down a couple of moves from what has been reported. Are you a little bit frustrated with regards to getting rid of those Wengerites that are still hanging around?
You asking me or Amanda?
I'm asking you and Amanda. Amanda's busy keeping the chat.
She's
she's
busy on the phone. But
she's going to be
let
next.
me answer this. Let me answer this one then.
I didn't even hear.
I am not surprised one bit that Arsenal struggle to get rid of these guys, or that these guys do not leave because they're on such a good screw at Arsenal. This has been Arsenal's Achilles heel for years. And this is why a lot of the fan base is kicked off, because the players that we've got they're not saleable. They didn't improve the team when they came in. So being able to get rid of them has been so difficult. And Arteta and Edu must be pulling their hair out, but they have to try and do something. So Torreira, obviously, can that get done? Did that get done? We don't know. Chambers, all these guys, Mustafi, Kolasinac, Socrates, who's going where? There's nobody going anywhere. It's difficult. It is really difficult to shift these guys on.
What really gets my goat about them, though, is that they'd rather take... I mean, I know everyone gives Ozil such a difficult time, and, I can understand why, but Socrates has chosen to stay and collect a paycheck. Kolasinac has chosen to stay and take a paycheck. Mustafi has chosen to stay and take a paycheck. But also, nobody really went in hard for any of these players. And why would they? Why would they want to buy players that they've seen underperform, week after week, year after year at the Arsenal? And I think the disappointment, if we're going to say there's a disappointment, I think we can all overcome that hour one, because that was, you're not going to hold the club to ransom. And at the end of the day, Zidane also played the part in that towards the end, picking up the phone and calling him apparently and telling him to hang in there for another year. But for me, what I've liked about Arteta, Casey, is that regardless of these Wengerites kind of staying on, he's shown with Ozil, he's able to block that out, and he has no fear about cutting someone off, even like a Guendouzi, who was Emery's guy. He's got no problem with saying to players, you know what, it's my way or the highway. I don't rate you. You're not playing. Your attitude sucks. You're not playing. Whatever it is, I think now we can trust that journey, that these periphery players and the click of Mustafi, Kolasinac and Ozil won't affect that first team.
Yeah, well, look, we've said it previously.
Am I still on delay?
It's on
anyone
a delay,
there?
darling. Yeah,
Bueller.
The fact of the matter is this: when you actually look at the Arsenal squad, player for player with anybody else, Arsenal squad ain't that great. But Arteta has got a tune out of some of these guys who have underperformed before. That's the truth of the matter. So I'm not surprised that, there's been difficult times. I'm not surprised that we've struggled to get rid of some of these players. It's no surprise to a lot of Arsenal fans, I suppose. I think there's a frustration there because, when you're seeing results happening like we're seeing results, if we were to strengthen seriously, then that would push our case for the top four even more so. So I think there's a little bit of frustration there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would completely agree with that. Lots of frustration. But at the same time, I think, we're in a situation where we're better off now than we were a few hours ago. And that's the most important thing. We've made, I think in Gabriel and Partey, I think we've made 2 really solid signings there, and we'll continue to see the evolution of the young players. Not saying we're going to win the Premier League. There's still the January window to come. We can get rid of that deadwood and bring in those reinforcements. But right now, I think we can. If we hadn't assigned Partey, it would have been a bit of a disaster in the old Arsenal Twitter sphere right now. But you know, the good news is that we have made an important signing and a player that we've needed desperately for years. Right then, we're going to close the show unless
just to let you
anybody
know,
has anything else to say or announce.
They've
Here
announced
comes the delay. Tick,
Torreira.
tock, tick, tock.
Torreira's gone on loan to Atletico. We've said goodbye to him. We've not announced it, but Atletico Madrid has. That's what I've been doing.
No,
So,
Arsenal have.
Have they? Where?
On the Arsenal app.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I've not seen it. That's why I've
Yeah,
been on
the
my
Arsenal
phone.
app. Yeah, on the Arsenal app, yeah. They've announced
They've
it.
not-
So
That's
all the best to
fantastic.
Torreira. All the best. I think he's suffered a little bit with Emery at times, because when he came, he played in that holding mid, and then he was playing at times. They was playing him further forward, wasn't
Yeah.
he? Playing him all over the place, and it just didn't work out.
I didn't really agree with Warren when he said that Torreira didn't really make it with us. I thought we had a really good bunch of games, to be honest, and we missed him when he wasn't playing. But I think he's
We'll never
right.
forget that 4-2 goal.
Exactly. But I think he's right in the fact that Partey is a step above. That's a league above. So we've come to the end. And it's been amazing, nearly 2 hours of chatting with everyone and trying to keep Sophie there so she's not blown up the internet because the time delay, and she's done well to keep with us. That's
Well,
for
we've
sure.
had Alan Smith on
We've had Smudger
and Dean. There you
and
go.
Warren Barton and oh, thank you to everyone. It's been brilliant. And I've just the last 5 minutes has been looking at my phone, just waiting for the announcement, and Atletico Madrid have made the announcement. So on that note, everybody, let's just party. 80s style party.